KKK Grand Wizard is actually running for Senate in the state of Louisiana. And recently, there was a debate taking place between David Duke and several other candidates at Dillard University. Now, Dillard University is a historically black college, and understandably, there were a number of students that weren't too happy about the fact that David Duke was included in these debates. David Duke is polling at 5.1%, which means he just hit the threshold in order to be included. Now, Dillard student group Socially Engaged Dillard University Students, that's the name of the organization, had vowed to protest the debate after the school denied its request to exclude Duke. One student said that his presence on our campus is not welcome and overtly subjects the entire student body to safety risks and social ridicule. Well, it certainly did turn out to be a safety risk after protesters tried to make their way into the venue in order to protest the debate, and then they were met with cops who pepper sprayed them. Take a look.
So that's a very tough situation.
Yeah.
So, all right, first off, I want to correct you. Former imperial wizard of the KKK.
Whatever, it's all the same shit. They're hateful white people that are bitter at progress in the country.
Yeah, and now some folks used to belong to the KKK, and they reformed their ways, and then they voted for civil rights legislation, et cetera, right? Some folks did not reform their ways. I know, because I interviewed David Duke. He spent approximately 48 minutes spewing hate against the Jews. Jews. In fact, I was surprised by how little time he spent hating black people. It was almost all Jews, but in this debate, he did talk about blacks.
Yeah, I have a little bit of what he said.
You're gonna get to that in a second. But so in this situation, first, let me just say that I believe that the correct percentage to get into a debate is 5%. I've said that about the presidential election, and that when Gary Johnson hit 5%, he should have been allowed in the debates. In some polling, Jill Stein hit 5%. If she had, she should have been allowed in the debates. And he's at 5.1%. I think he should have been in the debate. And so, sad day.
Yeah.
5% of the people of Louisiana are deeply racist. So it is what it is. Shutting that out doesn't really help.
So there are two things happening in my mind right now, okay? There is the right thing to do, and then there's what I want, right? What I want is to exclude him and exclude him aggressively, okay? The right thing is to include him because he is polling at a high enough number where he meets the threshold and he's able to be part of it. Now, here's what I think should have been done for this debate. I would argue that there might be other venues in Louisiana where they can host this debate. It should not be at a historically black college campus.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Because once you put it there, then you're in this untenable position. For the cops, I get it. The students are not allowed into the debate. Would they have caused a disturbance? There's some chance they would have. Right? They might. I don't mean violently. I just mean they certainly would have spoken out. They certainly would have booed David Duke, and they would have taken some degree of action. That's why they were there. So I get it why they didn't want the students in, and I get it if they don't want the students in, and the students are coming in anyway, they've got to block them. So then you were put in a terrible situation where you're pepper spraying black students in order to protect the former imperial wizard of the KKK.
That's absolutely right.
So Anna's exactly right. You should have the debate. He should be included in the debate. Just don't put it at a historically black university. That's nuts.
And I think it's important for people to know exactly who he is and what his message is, right? So again, there's the part of me that hates him, but that's because I know all about him and I know what he represents. I think that if he wants to go out there and be transparent about his hatred, that's an important message for people to know, because then they know exactly what they're getting into. He's over there destroying his own reputation, right? And so let him do that. Just don't do it at a historically black college campus. In fact, I would prefer that we don't do this at a college campus at all, period.
Yeah, there's no need for it.
By the way, there were people arrested as a result of that protest. 6 people, including 1 student, were arrested for obstructing traffic. And inside the debate hall, Duke had lots of negative things to say about black people and also Jews. He said that the demonstrators outside were Black Lives Matter radicals. In his closing statement, Duke said, "The Black Lives Matter movement calls for the murder of police officers and calls for the death of police." No, that's not what Black Lives Matter calls for, but that is the type of message that you like to put out there just to demonize black individuals who you piss your pants about constantly while furiously banging your head against the wall every night. He also says of Jews, there's a problem in America with a very strong, powerful tribal group that dominates our media and dominates our international banking. I'm not opposed to all Jews. I think there's a lot of great Jews. Look, here's what's happening with David Duke, okay? He's a loser who likes to blame his loser life on other people. That's all it is. That's all it is, okay?
There's no question about that. I have further theories, but let's stick to the facts for now. So that statement by David Duke sounds almost identical to 2 people. Borat, my country has a problem. It is the Jew, throw the Jew down the well. I mean, that's from the movie Borat, right? He's like, my country has a problem. It's this tribal group, the Jews. I mean, it's literal in this case, literal. Just didn't say throw him down the well, but I'm sure he would sign on to that. It also sounds exactly like Donald Trump. When he says, where Donald Trump says, my country has a problem, he says that over and over again. That's what triggered me remembering Borat's song, right? Because he says, we got a problem. The country's got a problem. It's the Muslims. I'm like, should we throw him down the well? Right? So, and he just says Muslims, although now he's also intimating Jews, Donald Trump is. And then he says, look, I'm sure there's some good Muslims, but I'm going to ban them all. I'm sure there's some good Mexicans, but they're mainly criminals and rapists.
By the way,
it is really, that language is not very far removed from David Duke. It's amazing.
If ever there was an example, a perfect example of projection, it's Donald Trump calling other people rapists.
Criminals and rapists.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I'm sure he's done some good things, but he's also done that, according to allegations that are in court.
Dozens of them.
Yeah, and not only sexual harassment, but allegations, I'm not talking about the wild allegations, I'm talking about his own wife in divorce proceedings. Anyway, so back to David Duke. Look, I interviewed the guy nonstop. Everything's the Jews. Like somebody at the diner burned his toast, the Jews. Obviously the Jews, right? So he's not hiding who he is. So he's not, I mean, you can call him former imperial wizard, right? But the things he believed when he was in the KKK, led the KKK, are the things he still believes. Go watch my interview with him on TYT Interviews. You'll get an earful until you can't take it anymore. So 5% of people in Louisiana are like, go get him, David Duke. That's why he's in the debate. And it is what it is. I don't want to keep him out. He's not going to win, thank God. But it doesn't help to hide uncomfortable truths. And the uncomfortable truth is that even that level of brazen racism appeals to some significant percentage of the country.
It's a teachable moment, and it definitely shows a pretty dark reflection of some members of this country, some citizens in this country. It's devastating, but I'm glad. Look, I'm at least glad that it's all out in the open now, and people can stop pretending like we've dealt with racism and that it doesn't exist anymore. Because remember, for a long stretch of time, as we would cover these stories of racism, all of these denials, like, no, we got a black president, racism doesn't even exist, black people have more rights than white people in this country. No, it's out in the open now. And at least, we've admitted that there's a problem, and hopefully we can solve it.
She's the wife of a cop. Come on.
A shocking conclusion to an investigation by Millbury Police. The October 17th burglary and racial vandalism of an officer's home was staged.
It was concluded by the detective that the wife of Officer Daly, Maria Daly, fabricated the entire story.
Investigators believe she was motivated by financial struggles. Responding officers were told that $10,000 worth of jewelry was missing.
There was some spray painting that was done on the outside, and that was done by Mrs. Daly as well. It just said BLM.
Now, the Millbury police chief said there was a part of this investigation that didn't seem right from the very start. Not only was Officer Daly home and asleep during the alleged crime, his trained and very active police dog was home as well.
Well, obviously, there was no need for the dog to be agitated because as far as he was concerned, nothing really happened.
The chief says there is no evidence implicating the 12-year veteran in the crime, and his job will not be affected.
You have to be desperate to, to try to pull that sort of thing off, especially when your husband's a cop and all of his friends are cops. It's just ridiculous, because why would you do that?
Maria Daly is charged with filing a false police report and misleading a police investigation. She'll be summoned to Worcester District Court.
He's fired. After 5 years with the San Antonio Police Department, Officer Matthew Luckhurst loses his job amid unthinkable allegations. In May, the police department says Luckhurst picked up feces and put it in a piece of bread. He put the poop sandwich in a styrofoam container and gave it to a homeless man. Luckhurst's lawyer says it's not true.
I think that he believes in fighting to clear his name, and I think he's going to do fine.
His attorney says it happened downtown at this parking lot where the homeless gather. The police department says Luckhurst bragged about the sandwich to a fellow officer who told Luckhurst to take the sandwich back and get rid of it. The officer says Luckhurst threw the container away.
Someone made a joke. It gets repeated.
2 separate review boards recommended termination, a decision upheld by the chief of police. This homeless man was not involved, but says the homeless are often easy targets. He says he's seen his share of good and bad cops.
You got to have some integrity about what you do, no matter what side. If you're in the hood, or you're educated, or you think you're rich, or you're poor, certain things you just don't do.
The Schenectady Police Department confirmed that a Sergeant Jonathan Moore is now on paid administrative leave. That's after his live-in companion, an ex-con named Anthony Aubin, was arrested 2 weeks ago for allegedly using fraudulent checks to try to purchase vehicles at 2 area car dealerships. Colony police say Sergeant Moore was with Aubin when Aubin was arrested, trying to use this bad $92,000 check in order to purchase a Jaguar.
Sergeant Moore was identified as being present during these transactions. On that date, our Office of Professional Standards opened an internal investigation into the matter.